Hello everyone, my name is Auro and in this video let's talk about marketing. I just recently released my second game, a tactical battle puzzle game called Chambers of Devious Design. After you release a game, the first question everyone asks you is that, well, how much money did the game make? And the second question is, well, how did you market the game? I answered the first question in my last video, so I figured that in this video I would go through all the marketing efforts I did for the game and also give my honest opinion on whether something was actually worth it or not. Okay, let's get started. The first marketing action I took, I think, was to create a Steam page. It is important to have your Steam page up when you start doing marketing, because then the players actually have some place to go if they're interested in your game. You could also have a mailing list they can join or maybe follow you on Twitter, but I think for the average indie game developer, having a wishlist this game on Steam as the call to action is the best way to go about it. So yeah, in summary, having a Steam page is a very good marketing action. Then after that, the next marketing actions I took were posts on social media. When I started marketing my game, I posted quite a few GIFs on Twitter, all the usual stuff like Screenshot Saturday and stuff like that. But I think the main issue with Twitter is that it's always the other devs that are liking and retweeting your posts. I mean, it is very much possible to do well on Twitter. You can go viral and get a ton of wish lists, but in general, I don't think Twitter really is like super beneficial for the average indie game. But still, give it a try. Then I also did the same on Reddit. Reddit can be kind of a hit or miss. Sometimes your post will go down to zero right away, and sometimes the same post even can like go up and gain some nice visibility. I think Reddit definitely has a bigger upside when compared to Twitter on the marketing front, but it is also kind of more annoying to use for marketing. For example, my game is based on a board game, and I figured naturally the board game audience on Reddit could be my main like target demographic, that I could get some nice audience from there. So yeah, obviously I tried to post on the board games subreddit, but as you can see on the screen, it was removed by moderators. The reason for the removal was that, yeah, this board game subreddit is a discussion board and not an advertisement board. And I mean, yeah, that's fair, but that also kind of highlights the most annoying part of Reddit. I think that the rules are like drawn in sand usually. For example, you can see that you can still promote on this subreddit, but it requires participation. And yeah, I hadn't been active on the subreddit, so I guess it was fair that this was removed. After participating a bit more on the subreddit, I tried to post a few times again, but the posts were always removed by moderators for one reason or another. Usually it wasn't even for advertising. I got the sense that I wasn't welcome in this community to post about my game, so yeah, that pretty much discouraged me from using this subreddit. And I did post a few times on other subreddits, but overall that wasn't like my target group that was again posting for other developers, for example on indie gaming or such subreddits. So yeah, those didn't really have that much of an effect. Oh yeah, and one thing on Reddit that I would like to shout out is this Indie Sunday tag on games subreddit. So basically it's this thing that every Sunday indie developers can post about their games on the subreddit, and otherwise it's not really allowed, I think, to advertise, but that's the one opportunity when it's allowed, and that's one thing that I could easily recommend that's worth trying out on Reddit. Overall, my thoughts on Reddit are that, yeah, it's very much worthwhile to give it a try. It can be frustrating trying to navigate all the different rules on the subreddits and trying to avoid the enthusiastic moderators, but posting there is free, and it is also not super hard to get some visibility over there. I also gave TikTok a try, but my experiences there were quite disappointing. I actually couldn't even give it a fair try in a sense, because I posted my first TikTok. I actually posted the trailer of my game, just a quick try, and I noticed that something like 90% of the views were from Finland, where I live. And I mean, yeah, nothing against my own country, but for advertising games, it's not really ideal. It's not such a big target group. So yeah, I figured that okay, it's not really worth the trouble. And I mean, my game is not even so visually pleasing, it's not really super marketable that way. So yeah, I didn't want to put any more time into it. But if you live in US or some other big country with a big player base, yeah, I think TikTok can be a very beneficial marketing tool for you. I actually do plan on giving TikTok a new try in the future, if I am somehow able to kind of like bypass the reach and stuff. There are kind of like different ways you can try to do that, and maybe I will talk more about that in the future once I have actually had some time to try that out. Then next marketing action, I made devlogs about my game, quite a few. I don't know what the latest one was, something crazy. Let's see, this is not the latest one, but yeah, 34, something like, yeah, a bit less than 40 videos about my game in the form of devlogs. And then I also made some like topic videos that kind of touch upon my game, and in each of my videos I also have the game linked in the description. So yeah, that's one way I also did marketing. Overall, my thoughts on making YouTube videos as a for marketing, yeah, I have a separate video about that if you want to know more about my opinions, but I would say it's not worth it. Give it a try if you're interested, but yeah, it's just so much time and work. Then let's get to the good stuff. Steam events. I participated to quite a few with my game. All the ones I noticed and figured were worth the time. And one of the biggest ones was the Steam Next Fest. Participating into Steam events is a very good idea. It's one of the easiest ways of doing marketing for your game. If I go check out my wishlist actions for all the lifetime of the game, you can see that the store page release had a slight bump. Then there was this small Reddit post, the board games one, and then then we get to the February, and this was the next event. And these two peaks here, I think, are the streams I did for the next event. I have videos about those actually on my channel if you want more information. I think I got something like 1000 or maybe even 1700. Sorry, I can't remember for sure which one it was, but basically, yeah, I got a lot of wish lists for my size of game from the Next Fest. This small little peak here, I think this was the Indie Live Expo. I don't remember if it had a Steam page, but they showed my game on this like long stream. I think it was something like only 15 seconds or something that they showed my game in there, like among hundreds of other games. But yeah, as you can see, it still amounted for like 50, 60, 70 extra wishes. So yeah, definitely still worth the effort of submitting. This was the Tiny Teams event I mentioned. So that had a Steam page, and I cannot really remember how many wishes I got. Maybe something like 300, 400 from the event. So yeah, obviously a very nice plus. Oh, and if you're wondering what this nice little pig here was, that was the release of my game. So yeah, that always happens when you release a game, you get a ton of new wishlists. So overall, Steam events, highly recommended. One thing I did that I highly recommend you do also is create a press kit. This time I used Google Drive, and that's what I would recommend you do. At least I like this format very much, and I think it's so clear and simple to use. So basically I have all the this branding, images, logos, and yeah, the main character was also there, and then some of the character sprites here, and then some GIFs if someone wants to use those, and some miscellaneous art and screenshots. I think trailers are here, and then I also had this general info sheet about all the stuff the game has, basic details and stuff like that. Having all of this information readily and easily available for all the influencers you contact is a very good thing. As a YouTuber myself, I can vouch for the benefit you get from having all the game graphics and stuff like that readily available for the thumbnails. And that is actually quite a nice jumping point to the next stuff I did, which was to contact creators. Overall, I approached 313 creators manually. So basically sending them emails, hey, here's my game, maybe you would like to give it a try, here's a key you can use, and here are all the information about the game in the press kit and a Steam link. Out of those 313 creators I approached, I counted and checked that 29 made a video about my game. Now, there might have been a few extra people that are not counted in that, but yeah, at least 29, so that's something like 10%, a bit less of the ones I contacted. And while 10% doesn't really sound that much, I think it's still decent, because 300 creators is a lot. And actually, if you've seen my video about marketing my first game, in that one I think it was something like 69 creators or something like that I contacted. This time I figured that I want to cast a wider net, I rather send a key to someone who is less likely to play my game, but if he or she does play my game, that's obviously a great positive benefit. So that was not all though. I also approached Chinese creators on this Chinese site called Bilibili. So yeah, my game has a Chinese localization, and for both of my games, Chinese players are actually a big demographic, something like half of all the players in my game. So I figured it's a good idea to specifically try to target Chinese creators also. Chinese people don't have access to YouTube without a VPN, so they don't really use it that much, obviously, and there are a few different alternatives they use as far as I know. And yeah, as far as I know, this Bilibili is one of the most popular ones, so I wanted to focus on this. From my Excel I can see that I approached 80 Chinese creators on this Bilibili site, and out of those at least 10 people made a video about my game. Then on the front of creator contacting, I also used Keymailer. For this one I actually used some actual money. I wanted to try a promoted ad on Keymailer, which cost me 250 euros. Overall, long story short, the amount of money wasn't really worth it. This is something that I actually contacted Keymailer about, because before I bought the ad, I had read that they have this like performance guarantee that you are guaranteed to get a certain amount of visibility. As I communicated them back and forth, I found out that I got a bit over 6,000 views from this ad, and apparently that was a lot below their like averages. Because of this, I actually got my money back that I spent on the ad. So yeah, that was nice of them to return the money when my results weren't as good as they were supposed to be. It's good to note though that the refunding does have some limitations, and those details are not publicly available on the Keymailer site. So if that is something that you think might apply to you, it might be worth it to ask the support about that beforehand. In case you're planning on using Keymailer, I do also have to caution you that at least currently there are a lot of scammers on the platform. I actually made a video about that recently, going into all the details, so I would recommend watching that video to be able to better protect yourself. I actually spoke about this problem with Keymailer. They did assure me that they are constantly coming up with new ways of countering the scammers. I hope they succeed, but it's a tough battle, so yeah, it's good to use caution in future also. My honest thoughts on Keymailer are that until they are better able to handle all the scammers abusing the platform, especially on the free tier where you don't have so much information available to you, I think it's more trouble than it's worth. I think I will give Keymailer another chance in the future though, especially if they're able to somehow solve the scammer problem. And overall, my thoughts on creator contacting as a form of marketing is that it is very much worth it. Aside from contacting creators, I also approached a few journalists. I tried to reach out to the ones that were most focused on indie games specifically, and I think it was something like a bit over 10, maybe 12 or something like that journalists that I approached. I got a few replies, but in the end only one person made an article, and that was Jonathan Boulding, the legend, who wrote an article about my game to PC Gamer. Based on my previous experiences, I wasn't actually expecting any journalist to make any articles about my game to any publication, so it was very nice to see a good article about my game in one of the biggest online gaming publications. I actually hadn't looked at the effects of the article before this, so I was a bit surprised to see that on the day of the article there's this peak, and at least at the moment I cannot think of anything else that I had going around on this date, so I think this peak was pretty much fully thanks to the article. So yeah, over 400 wishlists on one day is a very nice peak to see. And if I go to the sales chart, I can see that yeah, it also brought in some extra sales on that day compared to the other days, so around 50 or more sales. So yeah, big thanks to you, Jonathan. So is contacting journalists worth it? Yeah, obviously based on my results, yeah, it was very much worth it. Then another marketing task I did was to mention about my game in my previous game, Mortal Glory. So yeah, there's this banner button kind of thing, which then opens this window about all the kind of like main features about the game. I could have maybe included more text here, but I figured that okay, if this looks any bit interesting to the player, there's a Steam link then here that he or she can click and find out more about the game. I think using your previous games to market your new games is always a good idea, as long as you're not being like too spammy about it or anything. Then before the release, I recorded a 2-hour video of me playing my own game, and when it was time to release the game, I put that video up on the Steam page. So I was kind of like streaming the same clip over and over to the Steam page. And yeah, if you don't know how to do that, I actually have a video about that too on my channel. The benefit of doing that is that when players come to your Steam page, it is then very easy for them to learn more about what it looks like to play your game, how it is played and things like that. Also, if you get good traffic to your Steam page, maybe you have a semi-popular game coming out, all the page visits to your Steam page will count as stream viewers, and all the top viewed streams on Steam will get on the front page of Steam. So that is another way of gaining visibility within Steam. In my case, I don't think it had a big impact, but it was also very easy to arrange, and for that reason I would say it was worth it. And hey, I think that was actually pretty much all the marketing I did for the game. Maybe I forgot some small things, I don't know. Probably not anything big at least. I would love to hear what you think about all these marketing actions I took, and if you think there was something that I should have done that you think would have been a great effective way to market my game. As mentioned, I am not really a marketing guru. I try to do the stuff I think is the most worthwhile. I think one of the biggest obstacles for me marketing wise was that I just didn't have enough energy to do it while I was developing the game. So I tried to focus most of my marketing actions close to the release. But in the future I should try to improve also on the marketing actions during the development. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, and if you like the video, click the like button and all that stuff. Yeah, okay, hey, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.